think we had about 38 registered, so we'll start to trickle in, I think.
Chris, where are you based?
I'm in Connecticut.
Oh, what part?
I live in Trumbull, Fairfield County, if you know the area.
I graduated from Greenwich High School.
There you go.
Old stomping grounds.
Nice. Where are you now?
I'm in a little town called Ojai, California, just north of Los Angeles, closer to Santa Barbara.
All right. Peter's in Orlando. Raul, you're in California too.
Yeah, I'm in San Jose.
San Jose, right?
And David, did you say you're in where? Lodi?
Ojai.
Lohi.
Ojai spelled O-J-A-I.
Oh, really? In California?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm sure I haven't heard of this city. Wow, interesting. Where's that? Where's Lohi by?
So Ojai is about an hour and a half north of Los Angeles. So we would go, just drive up the coast, you'll hit Ventura and take a right.
Oh, nice. Okay. Oh, so you're near the ocean then. Near
Yeah,
the coast.
probably take me about 17 minutes if I drive quickly to Cook.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, yeah.
How's business, Raul?
You know, it's kind of a mixed bag, I guess. Definitely seen, you know, from the perspective of the job seeker, you know, it was a little slow there, but that's definitely picking up. You know, the activity from our users are definitely picking up. From the business standpoint, yes, our employers, especially our longtime employers, continue to post jobs. But the challenge is, you know, making sure they get those views, right? And that's been kind of the challenge. And, you know, I feel like, honestly, that, you know, rather than just standing back and letting them come to us, we've got to take the show on the road, so to speak. You know, you gotta go out there and reach out to those job users and make them aware, kind of essentially promote your client's job listings. Essentially, got to do more than just let it sit there.
Yeah. For the group, Raul runs employdiversity.com. David runs estatejobs.com. Peter's at the AIM Group, and Stephen Davis is a recruiter friend of mine. What's up, Stephen?
Hey, Chris.
You buy a ZipRecruiter stock yet? It's at 23 and change right now.
What do you think? Is it a good call?
Some of the analysts just started following it, and it's a buy according to Goldman Sachs. So
yeah, the last Goldman Sachs stock that I bought was a buy was Coinbase at 270. It's trading at what, 230 today. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think Zip's gonna have
also came out with a buy on Coinbase, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have a good year, but you know, beyond that, we'll see, right?
Right.
Proof will be in the pudding long term. So, but it's done better than pretty much any other job board stock in recent memory. So it's got that going for it. Peter, you got anything on the anything else on the Zip stock lately?
I haven't seen anything. John's following it, obviously, but we tend not to follow the stock gyrations because they're gyrations. You know, we try to follow what's happening with the companies, what they're doing. Zip talked about using, you know, some international expansion, and we certainly were looking at that. The interesting thing about the Zip deal is that they didn't get any money out of it. You know, most IPOs are so the company has more money for expansion or more money for growth or more money to make the executives happy or something like that. But this was an unusual IPO in that they didn't take any money out of it.
Yeah. Well, the investors are getting their share, I guess, now. So,
isn't it the way it always works?
Yep.
Except when they lose their shirts, which happens too if you're a VC. But make enough bets and make the right bets, and you do very well.
For the job orders under Raul and David, David, let me ask you for first of all, what's your biggest challenge right now? Maybe we can talk about that a bit.
My biggest challenge is really just striking while the iron's hot. We have a really very profitable job board and pretty top tier pricing, which is great. Very low overhead, and I'm considering maybe some additional sponsorship or advertising from brand names, and I'm just not sure how to extract more monetization, or just leave it as is and just shut up and keep the jobs coming.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So what are your products right now? What are you selling?
So right now we sell to employers who post job ads, and then we also offer resume database access as part of a standalone or a package. And then it's free to all job seekers.
Okay.
So that's the entirety of our revenue. The agencies that work with us have a monthly fee, so they can use unlimited posting and job search and resume searching. And that really retains a lot of them with a lot of jobs.
Yep. Have you looked at trying to sell resumes to your candidates? That's an area where a lot of job boards don't, and I think it's easy pickings for them. You could put something like Top Resume in place, or you could build your own, find your own resume writer, and basically sell them leads.
Gotcha. So we do have someone that we refer to who does a very, very high-end service. We don't have a financial partnership with them. It's just kind of a small network of people that we've worked with for 20 plus years that we refer each other business.
Yep. And definitely look at other advertising products. You could sell an email blast, or do you have upsells as well? Do you have like feature listings and?
We do. Yeah, it usually comes as part of a package. And then I also do a weekly selection of my own just to keep interesting jobs on the top.
Do you have backfill in place?
No, we don't use backfill.
That's another source. Not a lot of money, but it's kind of like free money out there. I know how Raul makes
a little bit
revenue there
at the beginning, and it wasn't related enough.
Yeah, that's the thing with backfill. You have to find the right keywords and get the right feed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't really work properly. But Raul, how's it going with Job Target? I know you backfill with them.
Yeah, it's been a long-term relationship with them, and they what they cite, I guess, as far as the success with our platform is the high click per click rate. It's actually pretty good. I don't know lately, in the last couple of months because of job seekers taking a hiatus, but that's really been the our I don't know if the others, I mean, they probably can guess from our name, but our focus is people with multicultural background. So we're a diversity-based website, and so that's been the key, the quality of the clicks, and the quantity of the clicks that's kind of drove that relationship with Job Target. They've and it's kept us going with them. So that's pretty static. That's the only outside. They're the only ones that we have this relationship with. We once had a relationship with eQuest, but that was years ago. And our technology back then, I hate to say it, we weren't a cloud-based firm back then. We were just server host, and there were problems with that. Getting that to work with eQuest, and so ultimately I cut it, and the goal was maybe to go back at some point with them, but I've not done that, and so yeah.
Steve, what's new in the recruiting world? How's everything going?
It's super busy, and I'm in the RPO world these days. So the challenge for talent is real, especially in the hourly worker space.
Yeah. Are you still doing some recruiting for ambulance or those
So
companies?
no, I wasn't. No, the short answer is no. Ambulance was a client. They aren't anymore. I tried to get them as a client for the RPO business. I'm with Wilson HCG now.
Okay.
And leading consulting services. So trying to put a wrapper around all the things that we do for clients outside of RPO. And not doing work for ambulance. That was interesting and exciting. But really here to hear what's going on in the job board space, right? And see what kind of channels are out there for us.
Yeah. I don't know if Vanessa, if you want to say hello, feel free. And we have, let's see here, Courtney Brown has joined the call.
Hello, everyone. I am here for the same reason, just kind of want to hear what everybody's thoughts are and see where else we can start looking. The struggle is real as well.
Yeah. What's your site, Vanessa?
I work for Adtalem Global Education, which was formerly DeVry Education Group. So we recruit for the healthcare space. We recruit for faculty positions for nursing and physicians and veterans. So.
Cool. Courtney, you want to say hello and tell us where you're from?
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Courtney Brown. I'm a newbie, and I've been a recruiter for the last 25 years, involved in the interior design, architectural facilities areas, primarily in the New York tri-state area. My interest at this point is to combine my recruiting skills and job board. My interest is to sort of mold recruiting and merge it into sort of as you would realize, I'm still kind of playing around with this. But I'm hopefully trying to launch this come September.
Yeah, I work with a lot of recruiters or staffing for people looking to start job boards. It's a natural extension of kind of what they do. Mm-hmm. Last year I helped like a nursing staffing company launch a nursing job board, and a lot of the calls I seem to get lately are from staffing firms and recruiters. Mm-hmm. We're looking to get into the business. As I think Dave was saying before that, job board has low overhead, right? All you need is a piece of software and one person essentially to get started, right? So I never understood why Monster had thousands of people back in the day, right? Even Craigslist is the most famous low overhead company in our space, obviously, with like 50 employees or something like that. What was their number of employees, Peter?
They stopped saying a few years ago, but it's about 50.
Yeah, and they were $1 billion company at one point, so you can do a lot.
They're down to a little more than half a billion. 2 years ago, they were over $1 billion. Yeah. Just a tiny bit over $1 billion in revenue 2 years ago, but things hit the skids.
Yeah.
Not that we need to have any sympathy whatsoever for Craig and Buckmaster.
No, they had their time. Their time was there. It's waning now, but still a big, solidly profitable business. I'm assuming.
Oh, I think that's the safest bet you've made all week, Mr. Russell.
Definitely. Nice. What's on your mind, guys? I'll run through some news. That's kind of what I was going to do today anyway. If you read my blog, you may have seen some of this stuff, but I'll just throw some stuff out there. Feel free to chime in or bring up a new topic overall. So let's see here. We'll start with, I wrote about a new aggregator for remote jobs. The guys over at recruit.net launched a subsite remote.recruit.net. So I'll put it in the chat here. And I thought it was interesting because it says they list 1.2 million remote roles. And that's the most remote roles I've seen on a single job board in the last couple of years. So I thought that was interesting to point out. I think they should launch it as a standalone site, to be honest with you. Something like that would serve to have its own brand, I think. There are plenty of remote job boards out there. There's probably at least 10 or 12. I ran a site called Job Moat for a couple of years before I sold that one. There's a Remote OK. There's WeWorkRemotely.com. That site does pretty well as far as revenue goes. But remote jobs are definitely hot out there. Let's see here. There's a new site called Openly HQ. It's a glass door for sports teams. And I guess they have a job board component on there as well. That's something new I saw recently. It's down in the Florida area. Looks like they have, that reminds me of Work in Sports a bit, which just got sold to iHire and got relaunched on the iHire platform. But the sports job boards have these jobs that are really sought after, and so Work in Sports used to charge seekers for access to those jobs. I'm not sure if they flipped the model now that iHire owns them, but it's an interesting niche there that has had some past success. So we'll see how that one does.
So someone asked me earlier today, which job boards are big in nursing? And after I told them, I think there are probably quite literally 1,000 job boards for nurses.
Yeah, there's a million of them. But like I think nurse.org is one. Nursejobs.com, I think, is one.
Any that particularly stand out in anybody's mind as unusual or well run or anything like that?
Not really. Not that I've heard anyway. There's I'll give you some more names. Nurse.com, that's another one. Nurse.org, I think, has been around for a long time. So the longer a job board's been online, the more established it is, the more traffic it has, as a general rule. So if you're a recruiter out there and you're looking at a job board, you want to look at the age of the site. It's one of the keys to its success, for the most part.
If it's pretty hard for you, Chris, to keep all the niche boards or niche boards, since we're in the U.S., keep all the niche boards straight in your head. Just mine's a little tougher because I got all the internationals as well, and
I do have a spreadsheet you can download over on directtechmedia.com. Actually, I'll grab the link, which is sort of my top 1,000 job boards list.
Wow.
It's something I try and update it once a year, so there may be some out of date stuff on there, but for the most part, it's a fairly solid list. Let me just grab the link here for it.
I've tried Nurses Lounge. I don't know. That's like you can post jobs, and then it's also like a community. We haven't gotten much traction, but that's something to consider.
Yeah. What was it called again?
Yeah, I think Nurses Lounge is supposed to be community first and job board second, but obviously ultimately it's a job board. So, but that said, I can't keep track of everything in my head. I'm just A, too old, and B, too scattered to know who's what where. And every time somebody says to me, "Oh, who's the biggest?" I turn around and 6 months ago, this guy was the biggest, or this product was the biggest, and now this product is the biggest. You just can't make a determination for the long term. But I figured if anybody knew That would be Chris.
I do kind of keep track of them too on my jobboardsecrets.com. Whenever I see a new job board, I usually try and mention it up on the site there. Speaking of new stuff, there's one of the trends I see in job boards lately, guys, is launching a job board without job board software. And how you do that is by basically launching a newsletter. There's I saw an ad on Facebook for some sort of PR job board, and it was just basically a paid access to a list, an email list that you, and again, that's taking the reverse model, which is getting seekers to pay for content that you curate around that. Another one just launched called the Market Her, Market HER, sort of for female marketers, I guess. That's a newsletter business. I don't think she's monetized it yet, according to the article I read, but certainly something she could do, or she could turn it into a job board eventually. But that's a great way of starting a job board, I think, with basically very little money. All you need is a newsletter service like a MailChimp.
One of the things we noticed this week is that Axios, which is a digital news site, has announced plans to expand into up to 50 cities. They're in 6 now, or 6, and they have 8 more in the works, something like that.
Mhm.
And Jim Vanderhey, who owns or runs the company, I don't think he owns it, but said they're going to put job boards in all of their 50 cities. Right now they have one in Charlotte, North Carolina. I took a look at it yesterday or the day before, and it was to be charitable. It was pretty thin.
Yeah, it's probably just backfill, I would assume. That's what Patch does. That's what the Business Journal's site does.
I don't think they're doing any backfill because they didn't have any, they had next to nothing in the way of advertising. So I don't think they're doing any backfill.
Okay, charlotte.axios.com. Let me take a look.
Yep. And John Zapp, who's working with us, took a look at it, and he said he thought he was pretty certain that they were were using homegrown software, which frankly I find stupid, but to each his own. And like everything else, I wish him well.
It's got some jobs on there. I'm looking at it now. Which essentially it shows views of the job, like right along the search results.
Yeah, yesterday they had 305 or 310 jobs, something like that, and they looked pretty. It looked pretty homegrown, and it looked pretty. It looked pretty.
I thought actually it was just that the HBO news show. I didn't realize they had sites like this.
Yeah, I think Axios is the ones who do the HBO news show. So the Axios Charlotte, that's the one site that they bought, the one local site that they bought, and now they're slowly but surely rolling out another 50. They said.
Yeah, interesting. Well, what can you post jobs on here? Let's see, post a job. Let's see how much it costs. $250
I didn't even get that far.
Yeah. It says job board views this month 113,000. I don't know if that's true or not, but they do have that stat right on the homepage there. Interesting. Well, welcome to the job board world, Axios.
Yep.
We'll see how it goes.
And I would say they've got a long way to go and a lot of learning.
Yeah, but it's not going to be a main revenue driver. It's going to be part of the revenue stream. It's not their core product. It's advertising, I assume.
And like so many others, frankly, one of the things they use, I'm sure they're going to use it for, is an engagement driver. You know, if it brings in a little revenue and drives a lot of engagement, that's good enough. But it doesn't appear to be well built out yet.
Yep. There's still a lot of tech job boards launching. You know, the tech job market itself, when it comes to job boards, is probably the most competitive industry out there. There's literally dozens, if not maybe 100, tech job boards out there for all kinds of stuff. If you want Ruby on Rails, there's a job board for that. If you want Java, there's a job board for that, right? There's a company called Arc that just launched. They crowdfunded $1 million for their job board. Let's see, it has global jobs for functionality where users can aggregate more than 54,000 developer jobs for more than 13,000 companies hiring remotely around the web. They crowdfunded $1 million from the community, it says. You've got one for creatively, a job board for creative professionals. Got $5 million out of Cambridge, Mass. They're going to use the funding to expand their product engineering team. Founded in last year, right? So not even basically a year old. They've got $5 million already in funding. They'll compete with sites like Behance and Dribble, Coreflot, to name a few creative job boards out there. That's interesting as well. Acquisitions have picked up this year. I wrote about that back in April. So we had, let's see here, iHire acquired Work in Sports. I mentioned that. Biospace acquired MedReps, which is a pharmaceutical sales rep job board. And Jobcase, the hourly job network, made its first big acquisition of Upward.net, which was basically kind of like just a programmatic site aggregator type of product out there. So that's that happened as well.
Hey Chris, on the acquisitions, do you follow the math on those at all? Do you have any idea of what kind of multiples that these job boards are getting for any reason?
Not really, no. I mean, it's never usually talked about. Although, let me see here.
How about maybe something that you've sold in the past? How did you figure out?
Well, generally speaking, David, so, you know, I sold for 3x of revenue. That was back in 2012. You know, 2 to 4x, you know, if your site's established and has a pretty good profit margin, is kind of what to expect there. Another way to value it is a percent or a multiple of monthly profit. So 10x to 50x, which is a pretty wide number, right? So if your site's making a profit of 5K a month, it could be worth, you know, 50K to whatever the 50x is there, 250K, I guess.
You're doing that multiple on a monthly profit.
Right. Yep. So that's what companies, you know, an internet business, that's an internet business number that I found. Again, it just depends on how profitable your site is, what the trend is for that business. Is it going down or up? You know, what other assets do you have in terms of email addresses and things like that, right? So, yeah, any small job board in the six-figure revenue is not only going to sell for a multiple, you know, of a couple maybe. You know, and it really depends on how profitable it is and what the trajectory of that business is. So.
Thank you.
What else has happened in the news? Let's see here. Thought we get more people. We had like 38 signed up, but not sure what happened. One of my clients launched supplychaincareers.com. Let me see how he's doing. That was back in April. And he was going to do a really big content strategy out of the gate in terms of launching and getting traffic, things like that. So if you're looking for like a new site that's just launched and doing a lot of stuff with podcasts and content. Check out supplychaincareers.com. May give you some ideas.
Do you still recommend, Chris, I presume, that people buy off the shelf software as opposed to putting something together on their own?
Yeah, especially if they're not technical. So, Courtney, if you're thinking about getting into the job board business and you're not a developer, go with a cloud solution like a smart job board. It's my favorite. That's what Raul is on. Dave uses Job Board HQ. There's also Job Board IO.
I'll shout out to Smart Jobs Board. Really great as far as technical support. If there's an issue, very responsive. So it's the best move I ever did. I have to be honest. I had to balance giving up the ability to make changes to your site, and which we did a lot. We paid a lot of money to add a lot of gadgets to our previous site. That was great, but when something breaks down and you can't get hold of your guy, that's not good. And your site goes down for the weekend, not good. So turning to SaaS cloud-based way of doing things was great. It's a great move, and cut out the developer. Although we do have our own developer, for changes, and we've even turned to Chris. Chris has been great. Helped us migrate our data, but I'll tell you, it's a big difference. And like Chris says, unless you are technical, boy, and I'm not, and I don't certainly have the time to deal with that. It's just been a great move for us. I can tell you that. And it hasn't really affected us as far as getting our business. I mean, we've continued to pick up and just move on forward with even with that transition. So, but I have to tell you that it was difficult because, let's face it, your hands are tied, right, Chris? You can't do a lot of things that you'd like to do, but it's still a great. Smart Jobs Award, it's a great product at a great price. You can't beat it, and like I said, the technical support's great. So,
as a new job board, you shouldn't be worried about technology. You should be worried about sales and marketing, because that's the lifeblood of any internet business. And so it is for job boards. So it really
how about the middle of the road there, and content you mentioned, just as supply chain, you said has good content. Can anybody comment on the cost benefit of spending a lot of time delivering content versus just shut up and keep the jobs coming?
Well, it's, if you're a new job board starting out, just from scratch, content's one of the only ways you can make noise for yourself and get traffic. And so to me, that's a must do if you're launching from scratch. The longer you're been in business, the less content you can create over time. Because I asked Mac from Max List on my event back in the spring how much he does now, and his site's over 20 years old or something like that. He only blogs maybe once or twice a month now. He doesn't have to, because he has so much content he's created over the years that just builds up in terms of SEO traffic. And so it does ease over time, but early on, I need to be a content machine, in my opinion.
I'm putting that on pause because I'm 15 plus years in.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like feeding the dragon.
Yep. It is time consuming. That's the downside, of course, but you got to do it, especially if you know your niche a lot. And
I'm also a recruiter. That's how I got started. So I have a firm called Domestic Placement Network, and we do full recruiting.
Oh, cool. There you go. Perfect.
I've actually written 2 versions of a book about the industry. So I've got content for miles.
Yeah, repurpose it. If you've already written something, repurpose it. If you wrote something, read it into a mic and do a podcast for it, or do a video on it. All the time. So I'm even I'll even watch a video on YouTube, and if I like the content in it, I'll have it transcribed and I'll reuse that content in the blog post, even if it's not mine. it's free content essentially almost. All right, what else is going on?
Any recent developments that you're following in sensitivity of hints at unfair job ads, anything that hints at, you know, discrimination or anything like that? Once in a while, we'll bump into, especially with nannies and personal assistants and caregiving type positions, we'll bump into somebody saying, you know, female applicants, or you know, this is a role for somebody who, you know, is in great physical shape or something like that.
Now, these are typically the families posting these jobs, or not companies?
Little of both.
Little of both. Okay. If they're a family, I would say they can probably get away with that because.
Well, from the job side, what do you think in terms of if somebody runs afoul of EEOC stuff and posts an ad? Because I'm not screening every single job that comes through.
Well, I'm not a lawyer, but I think the job board's protected from any kind of suit or anything. Being you're just a messenger, you're not the, you know, you're just a platform that delivers the message. You're not, you know, like you can't go and sue Facebook for something that, you know, I put on Facebook. Currently the way the copyright laws are and stuff. But you know, there were some of those stories over the pandemic last year. And those companies got called out on social media for sure. If they did stuff like that. So they run the risk of being called out. Number one. Number two, I would say, yeah, you know, I would say try and, you know, educate your clients on proper etiquette there. Just remind them gently, nicely that they shouldn't probably say that.
Please don't put it in the ad.
Yeah.
Speak around it.
Yeah. But yeah, I've had more of a problem with just spam stuff, like, you know, on one of my sites is just people from, you know, I don't know where they're from, Pakistan or Nigeria or somewhere. Tried and created an employer account on my site, and they would start texting some of the candidates from the resume database, and it was all scam basically. And you know, I have to go in and shut their account down and that kind of stuff. So that forced me to basically, now I'm only approving every employer by hand manually, and they have to have a company-based email address, no Gmails or anything else. That's the only way to kind of protect against spam out there. Raul, have you run into that at all?
Yeah, you know, actually, I was really surprised that it did happen because I had not seen it, but one person, if you will, I don't know if it did appear to be a company, but one did manage to get through, use somebody else's credit card, and I think purchased was one of our $500 packages.
Yeah, they love stolen credit cards to post jobs for some reason. They just want they want the job seeker data they get off of that.
Yeah. And so we caught that really quick and you know, deleted them and obviously refunded the money back to you know, to the person. But you know, you have to look. You have to look. I mean, it's not hard to see who's coming into your site and who's the new employer. You got to look at them. It doesn't take much to go and check out their website, right? And do a little due diligence and to see that these people are legit. So that's been one of the things that from the very get-go, since 2003, I've managed to, you know, to keep, you know, and I know before under the old, you know, website that we had, it just seemed it was more easier for people to get in that way. But we, you know, we were able to deal with that effectively. But under the new system with Smart Jobs Board, yeah, that was the only time that's happened, and it was recent. And I was, like I said, I was really surprised that you know, maybe they got lucky with the credit card, but at the end of the day, I think you need, like Chris, you need to look at everybody coming in, just make sure, because you know, that's they're after the job seeker information. That's the bottom line. So
Yeah, lots of spammers out there in the world who like take advantage of some job boards, so beware. Courtney, you have any questions about starting a job board we can answer for you, or Dave, anybody?
Well, you had mentioned Carafot earlier.
Car what?
Carafot.
Okay, yeah.
The designers platform.
Yep.
Mine is going to be something somewhat similar to that, but I'm hoping to sort of add my recruiting aspect to it. I've been headhunting for decades, and I don't want to lose track of that. But I guess my question is, I'm trying to design and develop a platform where one can post jobs and sponsor jobs, and at a certain point hire a recruiter.
Yeah, I've seen that before on some job boards where they basically, you just offer another product on the site. You know, saying, you know, we also do, you know, direct placement, whatever it is, alongside your job posting products, essentially. So,
but I'm thinking of a sort of a step between those two worlds. I'm thinking of a step where you offer recruiting services, but not the full cycle of recruiting services. For instance,
like shortlisting candidates.
Yeah, targeting candidates, targeting a particular location, targeting for instance, a job blast or a resume blast. For instance, if I wanted, if you were relocating and you wanted to direct your resume and cover letter and portfolio to all the furniture dealerships, let's say in New Jersey or in your commuting area, I want to be able to do the research and find out who all the hiring managers are for those particular jobs in that particular location and connect with them.
Yeah, you just got to productize it somehow. You got to basically figure out a way you can put it into a digital product and sell that.
Right.
So it's doable, but you know, you
have you seen that? Have you seen that on other boards before?
Not really, no.
Good. I'm happy you said that. It's not quite the full recruiting cycle, but sort of somewhere in between that, where it's automated, where I can do a email blast, but the very targeted email blast, and be able to follow up on that email blast and report my findings back to the candidate, so they have a report of who the resume goes to, what the response was, whether they're interested or not, at a fixed fee. That's and a larger, and that's probably one of the packages I'm hoping to establish.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay. Courtney, I could speak to a kind of a middle ground product, because I started as a recruiter and I still do that as my main course of business. On my job board, I've offered to clients an agency assisted plan, where instead of paying a large commission at the final hire, I would do a fixed fee, and I would help them write their ad. I would help them develop their job description, and then get their ad up and let them screen candidates on their own. Then I would help with the final hiring stages. So they got all of that for a fixed fee, including a background report, a couple of reference checks, all done by somebody that owns an agency. The best pieces for them at a professional level as part of their own job search.
Very good. Very good. Typically my fees are 20% of first year salary. I I'm thinking now of charging 7% for a service, not quite a full cycle recruitment, but a little bit more than your basic job board services. Something in between that area for less than 50% of your typical fee. And what I hope to offer for that 7% is research, presenting candidates, and sort of doing the legwork, if you like. I haven't seen it out there yet. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I haven't seen the whole thing yet.
One
that,
thing there, Courtney, is that if it's a product that is new,
mhm.
you got to explain it a lot to employers, right? They know about how to post jobs. That's
Yeah, right.
second nature to them. But you may have to do a lot of education around that kind of product with them. So just keep that in mind. It's not going to be It's not going to be as easy a sell as a job posting will be.
No. But as you said, it boils down to sales and marketing. It's grabbing one employer at a time and picking them and marketing to them, making presentations. It's kind of how I see it. I just don't see advertising to these folks and them posting a whole bunch of jobs and hiring my services. I see it more of hand-holding, making presentations, and slowly, one at a time, getting them on board.
Yeah.
I'm also hoping to offer a very similar service to job seekers, where it will be, you would come to me and you would register, you'd list your resume on the site. But if you wanted to go to a step higher, as far as if you again wanted a resume email blast again to a particular targeted market, again doing the research, finding out who the hiring authority is, not personnel, but finding out who you would report to and targeting those individuals. Probably a lot more legwork, but I think that's the kind of thinking I'm thinking I'm going down.
Yeah. Cool. Well, good luck with that. And I think I'm going to cut it here, guys. It's 10:00. I got to drive to Boston tonight, so we got a 3-hour drive ahead of me.
What was this? Something I said?
Not quite. I'm just anxious to grab some dinner and get on the road. So.
I figured you'd just kayak up to Boston,
Well, I have an e-bike now. Maybe I could e-bike, I guess.
Yeah, that'd be fun on the Mass Pike.
Yeah, I'll have to stop every 30 miles and charge up though. But anyway, I don't know. My daughter has got a parents orientation for college, so we're going up to Endicott College there. So.
Good for her and good for you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Good for you, Chris. Yeah.
Well, it was good to see you guys, Raul, Dave, Peter, Courtney, and thanks for coming.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, Chris, I'll give you a
Take care,
shout.
Chris.
I'll get in touch with you, Chris.
Thanks, Raul.
All right. Take care, guys.
See you.
Take care.
Thanks. Take care.